And by the way, have you had a job? Have you been employed? Let's say not like kind of like college age, but like since then, or have you just done businesses of your own?
We had like an acquisition, and I was kind of employed there, but
you haven't gone and just interviewed for jobs.
I interviewed once, a couple times, and I never got them.
What'd you interview for?
For Vungle, for Jack Smith, my best friend. I interviewed for his job, and I didn't get it.
What happened?
They just didn't call me back. I started.
They didn't even call you back? Jack didn't tell you?
The guy who's like my best friend now, I didn't know him. I interviewed at his job.
Oh, you didn't know him at the time?
I didn't know him.
Okay.
They
that makes
interviewed
more sense.
me, and they didn't hire me. And then 2 years later, we became best friends.
And you were trying to be a salesperson or what?
I don't even remember. I think so.
By the way, I have a similar story. I applied to Stripe. I think I might have told the story already, so apologies if I did. But 2012, I applied to. I was going to apply for a job for the first time in my life. I had started 2 companies before that. I was like, I'm moving to Silicon Valley. I'm going to get a job. I'm going to learn from other people rather than start my own thing. And I only applied to 2 jobs. One was Stripe, and I got to the phone screen. And I really had it made because the guy who was interviewing me, his mentor in life was one of my former advisors in my startup and had written a blog post being like, this guy, Shaan, is like, he said it specifically, he has the highest bias for action of any entrepreneur I've ever met. He made a warm intro to this guy and was like, trust me, this guy's legit. You should hire this kid.
How the fuck did you not get that job?
And so I thought I was cruising too. And maybe that's why I didn't get it. But I get to the part of the interview where he was like, all right, this job has a lot of sort of sales and persuasion stuff. So, we're a piece of software. So I want you to, we're going to do a little role play. You're going to sell me a piece of software. And he's like, you can pick any software you like, whatever you're familiar with.
Oh, you probably got creative or something.
And I was just like, okay, so here's what I would do. I would talk to you about this. He said, no, don't tell me what you would do. Like, I'm the customer. Hello, I just picked up the phone. Go. And I was like, fuck. And so I was like, hey, I'm telling you about, I picked Basecamp as my software. Big mistake because I don't even know Basecamp very well. And so I just
So they didn't call you back for that reason?
By the end of that role play, he was just like, yeah, I don't think this is for you. I'm just being honest with you. I just don't think you're, a good fit for this.
That was 8 years ago?
So I was like probably 23 or 24 at the time.
How early?
But I'm like, I blew it. Like, it wasn't their bad. Like, I definitely blew that interview.
How early of an employee would you have been?
So I think they were at like maybe 50 people or less, or 100 people or less.
That could have cost you $5 million.
Well, yeah, I don't know how much equity I would have had to do the rocket ship thing. I would have had to start in a crappy seat, crush it, and then get into a good seat to get equity. But like,
I did that with Uber and Airbnb. I had job interviews at Airbnb and Uber.
Early-ish.
First 100 people, and one of them I got the offer, but then they rescinded it because I lied about my resume, and the other one I didn't get past the final.
What did you lie about?
I had a criminal record, and I told them I didn't.
Oh, okay.
So I moved all the way out.
I called
here.
my bluff. Fair play.
I moved all the way out here, and they're like, "Oh, all right, don't come to work on Monday."
Dude, that's hilarious. At least you had a good eye for picking these companies.
And then I applied at Vungle, and they sold for $800 million. So I always tell people, find out where I want to work at, who will also deny me, and then invest there.
Okay, let's start with, where would you want to work at today? If you were you back then, where would you be applying today?
Great question. Do you have an answer? Do you want to go first?
A couple years ago, I answered this. I was like, the only place I would be really interested in working was AngelList at the time.
No, that'd be a horrible place to work.
And so I thought AngelList was doing really interesting shit, and I think it's going to be big. And it did end up becoming big, and this was like 7 years ago, so this was a while ago.
Yeah, no, that would be a horrible place to work, though, because that
Like
Naval
what, the
guy
environment?
is fucking crazy.
Really? I love Naval. Well, I don't know him, but
he seems like a brilliant genius. So a great
Yeah, I'm
person to
down with
listen
that.
to, but a horrible person to manage you. If I had to work somewhere, I probably just somewhere with really good managers. Most startups have horrible managers, and
But like when you were looking at Uber, Airbnb, you didn't know the managers, so you weren't using that criteria then.
No, but and I don't know if it would have been successful. Sarah, my wife, works at Airbnb, and she loves her managers. And you know how everyone's like, "So what are you gonna do next?" They always say that, and she's like, "What do you mean? Why would I ever do anything next? This is awesome. I'll be here for a really long time."
Right.
And I would love to have that feeling.
I would probably now look for a company I would go find all the most interesting biotech-based companies. So anybody doing something with genetics, genomics, modification, anything like that, I think that's a big wave that's coming. I'd go try to be early there. Self-driving cars, if there's someone who's awesome there, I would do something in that.
It's
hard though. It's really hard.
If I wanted to make a lot of money, let's say I wanted to be like, all right, I'm gonna try and save hundreds of thousands of dollars in the next 3 years of work.
Just go work at Facebook or what?
Facebook, Google, or an enterprise sales role at a super boring B2B enterprise software company.
Right.
Where the average deal is like $300,000 or $400,000 a year.
Right.
That's what I would do.
So if I took my own advice, I would look for who's a rocket ship. So I would try to maybe like Lambda School, I think is interesting. I would just basically try to go find who's the fastest growing startup right now that's at maybe 50 people or 20 people or 10 people, whatever they are. I would go try to find them, and then I would be like, hey, I'll come solve any problem you got. Like, we'll figure it out.
I went to the Substack office the other day. They just raised $16 million in funding. You know how many employees they have? 5. That would be an interesting place to work.